Jocks and Jills, episode 6. Welcome in, everyone. Happy American Thanksgiving, y'all. And to really get us into the American Thanksgiving vibes, if you hear like a warm and loving family atmosphere in the background, it's because I'm currently enjoying Thanksgiving in Colorado, Tess. So sorry if that bleeds through a little bit into the audio here. I'm hoping that it doesn't, but been having a good time up here in the mountains so far.
It's just the sound of love. I'm not mad about it. I hope the people listening aren't either because, look, my favorite part about going to school in the United States was we would celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving and then we would celebrate American Thanksgiving again. Like I guess I could have just cooked my own turkey and like made all the fixins, but like I don't have time. But also, like
you were living in student housing.
I was like 10 seconds away from texting you after you took off and being like, don't forget to bring me back some leftovers. Because there's nothing better than Thanksgiving leftovers for like 4 days after Thanksgiving, if they even last that long.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. Those ham sandwiches and turkey sandwiches after Thanksgiving, little cranberry. I know you don't like that, but
I like the cranberry. Ham, I am such a ham person with just those little white buns, a little butter and ham. Sign me up. Everyone will say, oh, you have to add mustard. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Good. So good. So the mountains are amazing.
Yeah.
I went for a run this morning. What they say about Colorado is absolutely true. I understand why the boys are coming out here to train so much in the summertime. The lungs were feeling weak, but God, I love the snow and the cold. I feel like I thrive in this weather. Just a little bit below freezing, not too far below, and a nice sunny day. I thrive in that weather.
You're from Thunder Bay. Of course you do. You are just meant to be surrounded by the things that are a little bit more chilly than the average norm, you know?
You're so right.
That's where your body's like, I'm at home. Now, albeit, that's, like you said, all the guys train there. That's why the Canadian Olympic team trains in Calgary. You know, elevation, stuff like that matters. But good for you for bucking up and going on a run before downing like 8 million calories at dinner tonight.
You got to do it. Life is all about balance, you know? And it is Liam's uncle's birthday, too. His uncle Curt, we're celebrating. That's whose house we're at. That's whose desk I'm at.
Is he there?
What? Yes. We're going to get him in here, actually, because he likes the Jocks and Jills pod.
No.
He likes brown liquor like us at night. He likes brown liquor like us at night.
Cool. I'm 3, but that's fine.
3 fingers?
Yeah.
Nice.
I've got 2
here
kids.
He is, the man himself. Okay, can I give you an AirPod? So you can hear what she's
Curt,
saying?
there he is.
That'd be great.
Okay, this is the mic. It's his birthday.
Happy
this is
29th birthday, Uncle
It is.
Curt.
To the world.
You know what? You picked right up on that. 29.
I did.
It was
Yeah,
right
you're
on the
looking
number.
great. I can tell
Thanks a
you're
lot.
still working out.
Yeah.
He was up this morning, 6 a.m. Lights turned on outside my room. I knew he was going to the gym.
It's funny you say 29 because I think 29 years ago I moved out of Toronto, believe it or not.
Come on. And that's where you ended up. You're doing good for yourself, pal.
Well,
he's got a pretty good spot here in the mountains.
route, but I'm still all things Toronto.
So
right?
so Thanksgiving dinner's all lined up for you. What is dessert then?
Well, I just took my apron off.
They've got you working in the kitchen on your birthday?
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Come over to my house, man. I'll treat you right.
Wonder and say, on my birthday, I got to do stuff.
Yeah, unacceptable.
They got my celebration of the birthday out of the way, so that it's done for the day now. It's just all about the turkey.
We had to celebrate early. We'll keep celebrating all day.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be in the pool late night. We'll be watching football.
We're in the pool. It's like the big tub.
Yeah. Well, he's got the pool at hot tub level in the backyard. It's amazing. It's
awesome.
actually amazing.
We keep it open for Thanksgiving because all my Toronto family comes and visits and likes to drink beer in the pool.
That's the best.
You know?
Well, FaceTime me when you're drinking beer in the pool. I'll cheers you, pal.
Okay.
We'll do it.
We will.
All right.
Good
Uncle Curt, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Sorry, I missed the sing. I missed the happy birthday singing because I was in here. So we had to give him a shout out.
Aw.
See you guys.
We got to talk about how you got to Uncle Curt's birthday, though, first of all, because you're absolutely ridiculous. Liam sent me a video and he was like, can you believe this? I was like, what is she doing? You're not in first class. You are in economy. What were you doing?
I know. It was a little much for economy. We'll get Jackie to throw in a picture here.
A picture? No, she's getting the whole video. She's getting the whole video. When I have a morning
flight, I don't like to get ready. So I go to the airport looking like Hagrid. And I accept that the people who see me getting to the airport will know me as Hagrid. And then I get on the plane. Have you seen the overnight curling trends where you like wrap your hair around a twisty thing and it stays that way?
No.
No, you haven't. Okay.
Don't ask me about trendy stuff.
Okay, so
I never know
basically,
trendy.
if you're watching the video right now, I wrap my hair around a sock in this sort of fashion, and then I tie it at the bottom, and that's how I sit on the plant. So if you see socks in my hair in the video that's up, it's because I wanted my hair to be stunning and gorgeous after. And naturally, I wanted my skin to be moisturized too, so I had a face mask on, and then I got off the plane, and look at me. I'm stunning.
But your hair isn't curly.
No, because it was yesterday.
Right.
It was yesterday. It was curly yesterday.
And it's
you could
wet
tell
when
it was curly yesterday.
Is it wet when you do it? When you wrap it up like that?
No.
Or is it dry? It's dry?
No, it's dry.
And
dry, but with dry shampoo. Oh yeah. Just it's a couple little nubs on the side of my head. It's all good. Very comfortable. Not generally when I go to sleep at night, but it's my little hack for on a plane. And you know what's really funny about having this conversation with you right now is I'm doing the same damn thing Monday morning headed to Minnesota. So you could be assured that you'll be sitting next to you.
I will not be sitting next to you. I will be using an upgrade and I will be getting away from you. And I will say, I do not know that woman.
You have to. Because the response widely to that was like, are you doing this sitting next to strangers? And my response is, no, I would never do that sitting next to a stranger. But I was in the window seat. My boyfriend was next to me in the aisle and I was wearing a hood. So let me live.
I can't wait for everybody to see this. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. But you went to Columbus? You got your surprise on the books?
Yeah, I'm still hurting from it too. And it's not even like a hangover hurt. It's like the lack of sleep hurt. So if anyone didn't listen to the last episode, I flew to Columbus last minute to surprise my best friend, my sister from another mister, for her 40th. Surprise work. She was so surprised. Her lifelong childhood friend had surprised her the day before. So it was like bang, bang, double surprise. There were tears, whatever. We had an old drink that we would drink back in university and threw back a couple fireball shots, headed to the bar. Party Patty was fine-tuned. She had her dancing shoes on. They were all sparkly and bedazzled. But then I flew out the next morning at 7. So I was up at like 5. And then last night, for whatever reason, my daughter decided that from midnight to like 2:30, she was just going to be awake and ready to party. So she was like, I want to go downstairs. She was like screaming and yelling that she wanted to go downstairs and play. I'm like, what's happening? What's going on? I just wanted a good night's sleep. I didn't sleep the night before. Like, what's happening? And then I was like, hey, I'll lay with you in your bed. This is cool. And then like every 3 minutes she had to like, where she would like look over to see if I was still there. And it's like, bro, I'm still here. Just close your eyes and go to sleep.
She's so sweet.
Yeah. So inevitably, I was just like, Annie, sweetheart, mom's going to bed and I will see you in the morning. And she was like, okay, like just bright eyed. I'm like, what's happening? And then 6 a.m. in comes Annie with 12 stuffies in tow, chucking them in my bed, asking to come in and snuggle. And I was like, this is insanity. And then Theo came in not too long after. He's like, why is Annie allowed to sleep in your bed and I'm not? I'm like, you know what? Annie can have my bed. Let's go to your bed, bud. I'm getting out of here.
I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Nice.
They have those glow clocks that wake them up. Anyway, so I'm exhausted. I look like a bag of trash.
You don't. You look great. You look great.
I'm pulling it together as best as I can for a tired mom. And my voice is still a little raspy. I was singing. There were so many good songs. That's the best thing about my girlfriend Krysta is like, she is one of the best like playlist curators, at least for my time.
Ooh, everybody needs a friend like that.
The DJ was playing some good stuff. And then randomly he drops a Bon Jovi Living on a Prayer out of nowhere. And I like ran out of the bathroom so fast. I was like, oh my God. Everyone was on the dance floor. It was the best. It was awesome.
Good.
Yeah.
You guys might notice if you're watching the video version of this podcast, Tess and I are matching today. We're both rocking our CCM tarps. Yeah. We are pumped to have CCM back in the mix for season 2 of Jocks and Jills. We love everyone at CCM. Like that is just the best. The people there are amazing. They've been Dale, Jody. On women's hockey since you played, Tessa. Like right when we started this podcast, one of the first partners you thought about was CCM because of how supportive they've been at the women's game. So we're so excited to work with them for another year. We have lots of fun announcements coming with them, fun activations coming with them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we never like fully unpacked the pros versus Jill's game
video. Oh my God.
On this podcast when it was us versus Eldridge and Rattray and Malde, and I was wearing a size XL bucket, and like no one wanted to help me out and tell me how terrible it looked.
Like I
should have known myself. I couldn't see.
Yeah. Why didn't you just say like, hey, we were at a CCM event where there's like 8 million bins of gear. Just be like, my head's not an extra large. I actually have a peanut-sized head. I would like a small.
Why am I the way that I am? I don't know. That's the logical explanation. I should have just said that. But I don't know why I am that. I'll just be uncomfortable and be like, all right, guess I'm doing this.
Yeah, and you did it. And you did it well. You even scored a goal. So
dude, it was so much funnier that my helmet was falling off my head. I was looking at the video of Emma posted from it, and she sticks the stick in my face at one point. I'm like, oh my God, is this what it's like to talk to me on a regular basis? She's like, yes, it absolutely is.
Hilarious. We had so much fun. I was like full contact. I was ready to rock and roll.
Yeah,
I gave it to Emma right off the draw. Won the opening draw, by the way.
I still have highlight reels to post from that Eddie and Liam took.
So much fun. And then I was on a breakaway and Rattray just took my feet out from underneath me. That could have been the game winner, by the way. No big deal.
Yep.
There was no call on the play, whatever. We toughed it out. But man, that was fun. And like my back was sore after it just because we were bent over so far. And I feel like,
yeah.
But like Wardo, so Catherine Ward was on our team. And she is a wildly competitive person, as am I. I feel like you just have to be if you're going to play in the Olympics. And so I was like, I'm not going to give it to the ladies, but I'm like, just going to like give them a little bit of a hard time. She was like, yeah, me too. Sure enough, that puck dropped. It was like, we just both saw red. And I remember one time I turned around and I looked at her and she was so dialed. It was like gold medal, Olympic game, final 3 minutes, Catherine Ward on her face. I was like, yes, this is going to be awesome. Anyways, it was a grand old time. Loved every minute out in Montreal. And kudos to those ladies. Look we kind of took it to them. They only beat us by 1 goal.
Listen, I think I turned some heads that day, Tessa. I do.
Yeah, I was impressed.
I think I turned some heads that day. I bared down my single A chops, my dreams. I bared down with a whole bunch of Olympic gold medalists.
Yeah, you played some solid D. I'm not going to lie. I was very proud of you. Yeah.
I was proud. So shout out to CCM. We're pumped. We'll be in Montreal for Hockey House this year. Like we have a ton of fun stuff coming with CCM. And we've been dropping. Shout out to Vincenzo Arnone, who I started working with at Bar Down and now designs all the goalie pads with CCM.
Dude, so sick.
Insane to see his career develop. Insane. He's always been such a good artist. If you see the pads dropping from CCM, he is the mind behind them.
They're wild.
Schroeder's that just came out yesterday.
I sent them to you. I've got goosebumps on my arm thinking about them.
Oh,
so
my
good.
Gosh.
So good.
I looked at them for a while before I noticed. Yeah, it took me a while to notice that, but it looks so good.
Blocker and trapper, so sick. Honestly,
so good.
She did a very bang up job. Like,
yeah,
I'm not a goalie and I don't like playing goalie, but I would play goalie if someone was like, you could have these pads. I'd be like, I'll play for sure.
Okay, just so I could wear them for a day. Just so I can wear them for a day. So shout out to CCM. Pumped to have you guys back on for season 2. And speaking of season 2, let's get to our headlines on the eve of the PWHL season. Okay, so on Tuesday, we saw the list of waiver eligible players come out. 16 players. I could read through the list of players, but I guess it's kind of old news at this point. So I won't read through the list of 16 players, but 16 players were made waiver eligible on Tuesday. I wanted to make a note about one of them because it was kind of an interesting story. And Laura Kluge was someone that you and I talked about.
Yeah.
That you noted. You loved watching her with Team Germany at Worlds. She had such a good camp. And Troy Ryan just can't say enough about this player. He was talking about how she came in every day with such a positive attitude, came in for coffee. She had everyone laughing every day, but then also really impressed everyone in Toronto. And then I think also really impressed herself when she went to camp.
Yeah.
Unfortunate that they had to waive her because if it was just skill-based and performance-based, it sounds like she would be on this Toronto roster. But interestingly enough, she has commitments with the German military. So there's hopes that we could see her play in the PWHL maybe in the second half of the season. But interesting story we wanted to make sure we made note of when talking about waiver-eligible players.
Yeah, she's a player. She'll be around. I wouldn't count her out yet. And like you said, not only a good player, but a good person for the locker room and for the team. So that just adds another, drop to the bucket for somebody who belongs in this league eventually.
Yeah, little time in the military, come back maybe even extra tough.
Right? If you're not, you already are, I'm quite sure, if you're rocking that title. But good for you, serving your country, and we'll be waiting for you when you come back. We got to get her on an interview about it too. Like, just talk about the whole experience and everything.
Yeah, definitely. So great camp. Congratulations to her. And everybody else who officially made the 23-player official rosters in the PWHL that were solidified on November 27th. We have those official rosters in hand now. So we're going to go through all 6 teams. We'll tell you who the reserves are. We'll tell you who's on LTIR, and we'll talk about if there's any big surprises on any of these rosters. And we'll start with Boston, who went all the way to the PWHL Finals last year. Their reserves are Kelly Babstock, Jillian Dempsey, and Olivia Zafudo, and Hadley Hartmetz, who we talked a lot about out of Ohio State on LTIR to start the season.
Yeah, she'll when she's ready to come back and be healthy, she's no doubt going to contribute on this back end. Look, the back end in Boston never really like truly worried me to the point where I was just like, you got to play Keller every 2 minutes. If anybody remembers Boston last year, like looking at their roster, and I've mentioned this 900 million times, but looking at their roster on paper, they aesthetically they look perfect. You know, they got a stud goaltender in Aaron Frankel. They got Emma Soderberg as a backup who is phenomenal. And then you go up and down their lineup and you're like, this team should win it all, which is why I picked them to win it all last year. Came close, didn't work. Problem was scoring, right? You know, I feel like Aaron Frankel really carried them through a lot of tough games. Really helped them run the table at the end of the season to get into the playoffs and then managed to finagle their way all the way to the finals, too. Right? Ridiculous. Look, I love the Hannah Bilka addition, okay? This is huge for Hillary Knight. 2, Hillary Knight last season, that's a wash. Crumple that season up and throw it away. She was not healthy. It is not fair to comment on a season that a stud player like that battled through. You know, her leadership was, I'm sure, so important to the team, making it all the way through where it was. She contributed where she could and how she could. But now she's healthy. Now she's got a Hannah Bilka, a player who grew up idolizing her, played with her on the national team, whatnot. This kid is going to be huge. They've got what? Mueller in the middle? Yeah. Like that line is ridiculous. Then you got a Susanna Tapany and a Lauren Gable who's coming back healthy, right? So now you got a healthy Lauren Gable. I feel like the scoring is just going to start clicking, if you will.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This team already has the confidence from last season, right? They weren't even at their best, and they made it to the final and almost won the Walter Cup. There was one game they needed to win, and they would have had it all. Unhealthy. Now they're firing on all cylinders. If everyone can stay healthy, I don't know. I'm not going to say Boston's the team to beat, but they are a team to beat this year.
Yeah, definitely something to consider. Lots of talk about Boston's lack of scoring, but it's a good point in saying their best scorers probably
weren't healthy.
Have a lot more to give this season.
Right? Can be huge.
Definitely. Gonna be huge. Then we land at the champions, Minnesota. Their reserves this year are Charlotte Ackervik, Lucy Morgan, and Caitlin O'Donohoe. Mm-hmm. And some changes here. Obviously, we know what they lost in at the draft and lots of talk about a couple specific players that aren't coming back, but I wouldn't say there's any huge surprises on this roster.
No surprises, just a beef up, if you will. Yeah. So if you thought they were good last year, my goodness, do you have a problem this year? Great Zellwegel's humming, first of all, okay? Watching her at Rivalry Series, she is mid-season ready, okay? Taylor Heisey's the only thing that worries me here. She hasn't played much preseason at all, nursing that knee injury, working her way back, albeit she's a stud player. She's going to go when she can. She knows not to push it because it's a long season, and she knows what the season entails in terms of physicality and whatnot. Kendall Coyne-Schofield, a player who received a lot of criticism last year and, in my opinion, deserved none of it, is going to come back with a chip on her shoulder. She heard it all. She read it all. I'm going to assume, you know, she was a little bit hurt by some of the comments and stuff, being blamed for some things. But like, Kendall Coyne does nothing but show up and do her job. And she did nothing for this game but help get this league going. And all the players know it and they all rally behind her. Okay?
Yeah.
Kendall Coyne's going to come out a woman on fire. Britta Curl, I feel like she's going to add to the scoring depth to this team. Michaela Cava picking up right where she left off in the playoffs. She was a head turner for me. She was one of those players that made me look down at
your program.
My program, yeah. Every time she was out there, she did nothing but impress me. Now, on the back end, this is where shit gets real, okay? Lee Steckline, Sophie Jakes, easy 1-2. But then you got Claire Thompson. And I remember I said, I don't know if I said it on the pod or just to you in passing, Julia. I'm not quite sure how well she's going to adjust, having not really truly played competitively last season. And then we saw her at the mini camp and I was like, well, damn,
Yeah,
That girl
it's
skates
so crazy.
effortlessly.
The way
It
she skates.
is
I looked at you and I was like, dude, it's hard to even evaluate how
it's
everyone
beautiful.
is doing against her because she's just a stride above the rest when it comes to the way she moves on
It's
the ice.
it's freaking beautiful. And the game looks easy to her.
Mhm.
The physicality is the only part that I don't know. However, you've got a 1A, 1B, and 1C on defense with Lee, Claire, and Sophie Jakes. Okay? So you've got players that you can rely on. You can actually mix up your D pairing if you want. You could put Sophie Jakes with Lee and have like a
Yeah.
stay-at-home D with an offensive mind person, or you can just take the saddle off of all of them and let Claire and Sophie just run amok out there, which is what I would love to see. Throw it back to who was it back in the day? Geraldine Heaney and who was a D partner? I'm drawing a blank. I'm having a complete brain fart. It's way past your time, Julia. Don't even try and guess.
Sorry.
That's okay. It'll come to me. Regardless, they were leading the rush on multiple occasions. And then you look at their back end, Nicole Hensley and Maddie Rooney. Love Maddie Rooney. We're going to hear from her later. This kid's one of my favorites ever. You can't not cheer for her. But like, what a 1-2 punch. You know, it's kind of nice as a goaltender knowing you might have an off day and your best pal's there to back you up. And it's like, they're going to bring the game to a level where it should be that you just unfortunately that day couldn't get to. This team
your car
is
breaks
trouble.
down, maybe your friend could come get you. Who knows? The goalie duos, they just work that way.
There you go. This team's looking ridiculous. What I want to see though, because I don't know if you remember last year, their power play, oddly enough, brutal. Their penalty kill, not great. Now they got a new coach, you know, the legendary coach from Wisconsin who just wins national championships all the time. He recruited me. Beautiful human being, Mark Johnson. His son is now the assistant coach.
Right.
So I'm going to assume he's going to bring a little bit of a flair. I don't know if they're going to assign him to power play or penalty kill. I'm assuming he's going to have a hand in one of them, but it's going to be a season where I hope to see a little bit of a bump up. You know what I mean?
Yep, for sure. For sure. Okay, Montreal rather. Their reserves this year
Montreal.
are Catherine Daou, Gabrielle David, Kellyanne Nadeau, and to start the season on LTIR, they have Dominika Laskova and Kennedy Marchment. Fun to note that Kayla Barnes is not one of the players on that list. She's been practicing with the team, I think, in a non-contact jersey most recently, but folks are fairly worried about her after rivalry series. Darkly hilarious that it was Marie-Philippe Poulin that she got into that big collision with her new teammate, but looks like she's hopefully going to be ready to start the season.
Yeah. I don't think she's going to start the season if she truly isn't 100% ready. And I don't think
no need to do that.
I don't think Montreal would even do that either. What I do like about this team is they did add that offensive flair with Kayla Barnes on the back end. Now Erin Ambrose isn't carrying that big of a load. You know, you got Katie Tabin who can kind of pick up the slack there, and be, you know, a partner to either Ambrose or Barnes. You got Keppel who's there again, who has been there and done that. She was in the mix with Ambrose a lot last year. On the back end, you got Anne-Renee Debian and Elaine Chuli, which to me is so awesome. That 1-2 goaltending performance last year was really entertaining and joyous to watch. Elaine Chuli, you brought us so much joy in watching the way you played and turned heads. I love it. I hope she keeps it up this year. Up front,
one of my favorite moments of the season, honestly, when she kept Toronto, or when was she the one who busted Toronto's streak last year? Or was it Ottawa? I don't know. She had one big game in Toronto last year that I loved. Anyways, continuing on.
The offense. So this is where everyone in Montreal and around Montreal was just like, you gotta rely on someone else other than Pooh and Stacy. Now they got Lena Lungblom up top who can join that line. Dangerous. Yeah. Now you got Abby Boreen who can fill in on the second line if you want, with a Kristen O'Neill and a Maureen Murphy. Like, now you got two lines that are gunning. You got a Jen Gardner who has played at Ohio State, who, you know, is a tough kid that like knows how to grind out plays. She'll go in the corner and come out with the puck. Then you got Dara Gregg, who's got a body on her, you can throw out there in any situation, play responsibly, make sure things don't get too out of control out there when the game comes to, you know, a physical head. Then you got Michaela Grant-Mentis, who has said outwardly that when she plays against Ottawa, she does have a chip on her shoulder. I expect her to enter this season, whether she's playing Ottawa or not, with that same chip on her shoulder and something to prove. And I love to see it because she had a really good showing at the minicamp. And
she had one goal that was ick and ooh worthy.
I know.
At minicamp.
And I want to keep seeing that from her.
Yep.
Anyways, I like the additions that this team made. Yeah, Corey Chevry and company, you guys are looking good this year. I mean, did they add enough depth this offseason? I feel like that's probably the question everyone's been asking. And yeah, I would say they did.
New York, Tessa, kind of interesting. They only have one reserve. And it's interesting that it's Kayla Vespa, who is a player who's definitely good enough to play in this league. But I don't know, with everyone New York had at their camp, somebody was bound to be on the outside looking in. But it's interesting in general that they only have one reserve signed right now.
Yeah, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I feel like you're gonna need something, right? Because injuries happen in a season like this, and you got players that are joining your lineup that haven't played this physical of a game yet or physical of a season yet. But like this, I like this team so much. They've got a new coach, like new coaches on the bench. It's a refresh. We were talking to, some of the players at minicamp. Like I said, they just seem to be in a better place and more excited for the season to start. Now, whether that has to do with them picking up Sarah Fillier and Nora Toulouse, of course, every forward's going to be smiling when you got those two players added to your lineup. I know Alex Carpenter, who is, just a legendary game face wearer, and it's odd and very, I guess it's few and far between that you'll see Alex Carpenter strike a big smile just because she's all business, and I dig it. But I think playing with Sarah Fillier, we're going to be seeing her smiling a lot this season. Now, whoever they want to put on the wing with them, I don't even think it matters. They're just such a 1-2 punch. They're going to need someone just to be able to go in the corners and dig the puck out for them. That being said, second line, you could have Nora Toulouse with, Abby Rock and a Jesse Eldridge or a Jaguar or an O'Rard. Like, they can play around with this lineup. And I feel like you're going to have moments throughout the season where one line is just going to be clicking and firing, and he's going to be able to lean on that line and mix the others. But as far as offensive talent on this line, I love it. Nora Toulouse, I think, is going to be so exciting to watch this year. Sarah Fillier, of course, but her and Alex Carpenter. Sarah Fillier and Alex Carpenter. This is going to be the story all season.
Yep.
All season long. On the back end, you finally have a very healthy Micah Zandy Hart. So pumped to see her go to work. You got Ella Shelton, who knows what's up in the league. Jamie Bourbonnais, who knows what's up in the league. Then you got Maya Nyland Person. And I'm excited to see what she can bring. I feel like with those three that I just named on the back end as, leadership and guidance for her, I think she's going to have a stellar season and she's going to love her time in New York.
Does she run the power play at some point this year?
Ooh. It's tough. I mean,
depends. It's so hard, but she's so offensively gifted. It kind of seems like her kitchen, but there's so many other players on that team.
Well, that's just it. Usually you got 4 forwards and 1 D out there.
Yeah.
So, Ella's for sure getting the first kick at the can.
For sure.
IMO, right? But it wouldn't hurt to throw her in because, look, as far as I'm concerned, this team doesn't even really know what they have because I wouldn't go off of anything from last season, personally. Yeah. I would not. This is a white canvas and you're painting a whole new picture. And I'm sure he said to the ladies, look, we're going to be trying a whole new things. Surprise me. I would love for you to surprise me. Yeah. And when a coach says that, it's nothing but music to everyone's ears. I do have to say the depth on this team, I know minicamp isn't everything, but like watching Elle and, Peyton Levis play, I mentioned before, it looked like they came in not to just make the team, but to make a statement on the team. And so that adds massive depth to this group. So I like what I see, not only about, the lineup and the way it looks on paper. I like the feel of it around the team. It wasn't a positive feel last year. This year, it definitely is a positive team. So, they have the players that can turn this thing around. It's just a matter of, walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Yeah. Okay. I want to shout out Emmy Facto on this roster too. One of 2 U Sports players that made the jump right from U Sports to the PWHL. Ryland McKinnon made Toronto too. So that was the first league I covered, Tessa, U Sports women's hockey back when it was Ryerson. So loved, like, God, that it's, well, the women's side isn't going to change a lot. Men's U Sports is going to change a lot with the new NCAA agreement, but U Sports, I'm one of the people preaching one of the best kept secrets in the country when it comes to hockey, and the women that play in that league are awesome. So congratulations. Good recognition for them.
Heck yeah.
Ottawa, they've got Jessica Adolfson, Taylor House, and Sam Isabel as reserves this year.
So the big question, I think, for this team coming into the season is, okay, you lost Daryl Watts and you didn't really have that much offense. What'd you do in the offseason? Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And like, is it enough to help carry this team through? Look, they got Danielle Serdachny. This kid's a player. We watched her at Worlds last year, and I remember saying to you, she delightfully surprised me in a great way at how not only the style in which she was playing, but the confidence that she carried herself with out there. And Troy Smith, I'm quite sure, recognized it as well. She was put in some situations where I was like, good, like she's earned that. And then she scores the game winner in OT, which was even better.
Yeah.
So I think that adds to, her confidence coming into this season. She got great leadership in Brianne Jenner this season. Zoe Boyd on the back end, finally healthy for them. Jinsey Rose, she's back and going to be healthy. They've got some great leaders on this team that I think will be good for these newcomers. Venisheva was acquired last year at the deadline pretty late. And Mrazova last year was amazing. So it'll be interesting to see that 1-2 punch, how if they play together and how they play together, how they can contribute under Carla McLeod's guidance. But you look at Gabby Hughes and Emily Clark, you expect them to continue to what they did last season. Haley Skimura is a player who I have garnered so much respect for over this past year. Her and her fiance, soon to be husband, Nick, came up to Sudbury, my hometown, and helped me at my hockey school. And just watching the way she is so committed to her craft and to her game, watching her work on things was awesome. Her and Jamie Lee Rattray were just ripping on the ice every day. We had an hour break in between things, and instead of eating, they were just like going guns a-blazing on the ice. And I jumped in for a couple of reps with them, and I was like, I am way out of shape and way too old for this. But her shot, everyone always says she has a hard shot. You don't realize it until you're standing there next to her, and you're like, I would not want to get hit by this. She's a beast in the gym. Like, this girl earned and deserves every bit of attention that she gets because she puts in the work. She's a positive example, and she's a great leader in that locker room. And I can't wait to see what this second season brings. I'm hoping for more offense from this group.
I think it's got to come internally. Like, they've got the players on the roster,
and that's it.
I know they lost Daryl Watts, but I think last year they were struggling to find consistency game to game. If they could find some of that this year.
Yeah, and I feel like even on, because sometimes you need offense from the back end too, right?
Yeah.
So Savalainen might be able to contribute some of that. I want to see a bigger season from Ashton Bell, quite frankly. Savannah Harmon put in work last season. So it'll be interesting to see how this Ottawa Charge team takes to the ice when puck drops this season, because there were a lot of times last year where I said it in season 1, I felt like Ottawa got ripped off in terms of calls that were made in certain points of the game, albeit there were a lot of 1-goal games. And, it's a point where you guys should have been putting up more than 1 and or 2 goals. There were definitely goals left on the table for them. So I feel like they understand and know that. And they're going to get back to work with the right mentality. It's year 2, right? So all the hype has been here and it's passed, and they've had time to digest it. Now it's like, okay, focus on the hockey. Like Blair Trimble said, it's time to focus on the hockey, make it great hockey. And now they all know what it's like to play in this league. Now they all know what it's like to play that many games with that much physicality. And technically there is no excuse anymore.
Yeah. Pumped to see Rebecca Leslie play in her hometown too.
Yeah. I will say though, Ottawa did score, is it the second most goals last year or the third most goals? And they missed the playoffs by like 1 game.
One game. Yeah, they were right there.
It's not like I don't want to make it feel like I'm ripping on them, but it's not like it can't be done. It can. Like, they can be better than what they were, I guess, is what I'm saying.
I agree. Toronto, they've got Sam Cogan, Olivia Knowles, and Jess Condis on reserve, and Megan Carter starts the season on LTR. We've touched on that already.
Yeah, I'm so excited to watch her play. I'll say it again. But holy smokes, this lineup. Spooner's on the LTIR too, by the way. This lineup, even with Spooner out of it, looks pretty appealing. I mean, tell me what you don't like about this. Darrell Watts, Sarah Nurse, Izzy Daniel. Then you got Malte, Turnbull, Emma Woods. You still got Julia Gosling, Victoria Bach, Jessie Comfort.
Man, I'm excited to see Julia Gosling play in the PWHL. Like, I feel like this she's her body, the way she plays, her shot, it's going to fit so well into this league.
Huge, absolutely. And I think after, not just her, but everyone entering this league this year saw what last year was all about. And they're just chomping at the bit to experience a piece of it.
Yeah. It's cool. It's different. Last year, everybody was kind of bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, just excited to have a league. But it'll be interesting to have this kind of contingency of players that watched as fans from their respective colleges last year, and we're so excited to get involved. And now we're throwing on the jerseys themselves.
So last year, Spooner had the season of her life, just playing out of her face, right? So she's not starting this season. And we all remember and know how Toronto's season started last year. So it's going to be up to some of these newcomers that we just named to pick up the slack there and help produce on the front end. Because if they can get that going before Spooner comes back, watch out when Spooner comes back, right?
Oh, yeah.
You want to be that team. They're pissed about the way they exited the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. They lost to the eventual champs, but I mean, there's no way they can be happy about that.
No.
Are they deep enough on the back end? I feel like there's a lot of experience there, but I don't think Jocelyn Larocque and Renata Fast are going to want to play 30 plus minutes a night again.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I mean, that's where Megan Carter, hurry up, please come back.
Yeah, definitely. So that's where we land with rosters right ahead of the PWHL season. Game 1 on Saturday, Toronto. We will be there in the house. We'll also be in Minnesota on Sunday. So we'll see you guys there. There's some broadcast news announced this week. NESN is going to air every Boston Fleet game on NESN or NESN Plus during the regular season.
Yeah.
Love to see that.
Love that.
Still waiting on kind of official details out of American broadcast rights, but we did hear from Amy and Jane during that media availability that US fans will have YouTube broadcast available. So still get to talk to YouTube, girl.
I know. That was so much fun last year being a part of that. Totally. And thank you to NESN for coming on board and just buying in and believing in these ladies. I feel like if you were even anywhere near that rink last year during the playoffs, it was very apparent that there is a massive following that need and want to watch these ladies on the reg.
Yeah. And I thought this was cool too. You and I used to kind of get a behind the scenes of it during Women's World Championships. It was always cool to hear which countries were buying feeds and who wanted to see women's hockey and who was investing in it. Cool that Nova Sport in Czechia has invested in a PWHL package.
And
lots of great Czech players. Yeah.
You know why? There's a ton of them in there. Their head coach is there and they're hosting Women's World this year. You got to build up the hype.
Exactly.
And you know what?
Great to see them investing.
That's what helped build the World Juniors into what it is today. Right? Growing the game all over the world, allowing eyeballs, plural, to get on the game, and just watch and cheer and learn about these ladies who pour their heart and soul into this game that they love so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Pour is a good word for where we're going next. Kelly Panek announces a new beer. Been there, won that.
I'm so here for this.
It is like a purpley pink berry leaning light lager, I think, from what I understand from the press release. Sounds so good. The name is obviously fitting because Kelly is one of very few people. Like, it's her and Lee Stecklin. Is there anyone else on that team that could be a part of the club that's won everything now that the Walter Cup is in the mix?
I think there's only like 3 people.
Yeah. So between NCAA championship, Division I, World Championship, Olympic gold, and now add Walter Cup to the mix. Kelly Panek really has been there and won that. So it's a perfect name for a beer. And we're going to be there on Sunday, like I said before, to test it out. So we will be doing a live tasting.
Right. She needs to confirm, but she's going to make it happen as much as she can. And
we'll have a beer in our hand at some point.
They're with Kelly and probably her mother, Molly.
Of course.
Doll in the house. She's going to be in the house. You know, she's going to be bringing the raucous noise, cheering for her daughter. But yeah, we're going to try and get a little taste tester in before everybody else gets a chance to get their paws on it.
Yeah. And speaking of Minnesota on Sunday, guys, if you are in Minnesota on Sunday and you are going to their home opener where they're going to be raising the banner, Tessa and I are going to be there. They're going to open the door 90 minutes early to that game. And Tessa and I are going to shoot Tuesday's podcast on Sunday at the rink in Minnesota. So you guys could be there for a live taping. We're going to do like a live Q&A with whoever's there. We're pumped to be there. We're going to share details as to like where you could meet us. I think we have a specific gate and entrance and kind of section. Gate 1?
Yeah, 104, section 104, yep.
Okay, wait, read it out if it's in front of you.
You just remember? I do remember. You want me to read exactly what they had said? I know it's just outside, inside of gate 1, 104, and we will have our broadcast area set up behind section 104. Yes.
Okay, cool. So that's where we'll be, and we'll do our live podcast there. We'll talk about the season. We'll get hype going for the game. We'll talk about the game that happened the day before that, and we want you guys to be involved and be there. And we can't wait to meet you. So we will see you Sunday in Minnesota. We cannot wait. We're pumped. Woo. NWSL Finals. I know you didn't get to KC like you were hoping, Tess, but still exciting finish. First major championship trophy for the city of Orlando. Didn't realize that. So
pretty
exciting.
Cool. And Marta was on that team. Who doesn't love Marta? And the fact that her mom was there, her mom shows up, flies in from Brazil. It's freezing. Her mom's like, I don't own warm clothing. That's not what I do. So Marta had to go out and like buy her a jacket and everything, like boots, everything to keep her poor mom warm. And they look so much alike. And all the pictures they took after that final together are all framers. They're just the best. Her mom was the cutest. Congrats to Orlando. Congrats to Marta. And you could just tell the whole team, when the final whistle blew, they all just ran to her. Like it almost felt like they all wanted to win it for her. Do you know what I mean? Obviously,
it's cool to have something to rally behind.
100%. The city mattered 100%, but Marta won, and everyone was just like, yes. And I'm sure you can ask anybody that played against them throughout the playoffs or in the season. Everyone would be like, yeah, if anyone's going to win it, I'm glad it was her.
Yeah,
what a legend.
I agree. Congratulations, Orlando. Amazing run. Another exciting announcement from the PWHL just dropping today. Fanduel becomes an official sportsbook partner of the Professional Women's Hockey League. They're going to be streaming 90 regular season PWHL games and playoff games live on the Fanduel app, which is sick. So fans could watch and wager on their favorite teams and athletes. Last year, remember, there was just kind of money lines, single games, but this year there is going to be player prop bets, novelty markets, and same game parlays all in one place. Whoa. So Fanduel is going to be your spot. I'm honestly pumped to be able to pick a goal scorer and SGPs. So that's going to be kind of a fun layer of fandom in the PWHL that you and I could potentially get in the mix on. Yeah, we're going to have some fun with FanDuel. Tess and I think are going to get into some like competitions, picking a game of the week. Honestly, we want to hear from you guys in terms of what you think would be engaging. Like, I know betting content is like kind of everywhere right now. We want to do it in a fun way that would be interactive with you guys. So let us know what you think would be fun. We're thinking right now of like a pick'em, and Tessa and I kind of go head to head, and one of us the loser has to do something embarrassing at the end of the season, at the end of the regular season. So
it should just be after every win or loss, I think.
Every win or loss?
Yeah. Let's get you doing some silly stuff, Julia.
Dude, I think we got to tally it up for a big one at the end of the season. But let us know your thoughts on that. If you think it should be weekly, or if you think like the loser should get a Jocks and Jills tattoo on their butt, or like whatever you guys think. Whatever you guys think. Welcome FanDuel to the PWHL. We're honestly pumped to have you guys. We did lots of work with them at TSN. Great group there, and we're pumped to have them on board. And with that, Tess, let's get to our player interview this week. So we were at Toronto minicamp, and we were lucky to sit down with a whole bunch of different players. We are giving you guys the goalie gauntlet right now. We realize that. Tessa said last week, we don't like to bug goalies in season. Like, we're more superstitious, I guess, than all the freaking goalies in the PWHL, because none of them are superstitious. But Tessa and I are like, okay, we'll leave you alone. And they're like, no, we'll talk to you. And we're like, no, you have to focus. So we're going to get all of our goalie interviews in the off season. Maddie Rooney is such a cool character. She is a superstitious goalie, which I appreciate. And until we sat down and talked with her, Tessa, I was just thinking about her incredible championship run and how great she was. I didn't even consider in my head the fact that she was not drafted into
insane.
the PWHL this season.
Yeah,
insane.
Last season. Yeah.
Yeah, just makes no sense. And then ended up obviously hoisting the Walter Cup above her head.
Yeah, because she's a boss. And
because she is a boss.
To think she wasn't sure if she was going to continue to play or not is kind of crazy.
Yeah. So honestly, guys, this chat was really interesting with Maddie Rooney. So we hope you enjoyed as much as we did. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are so excited for today's guest on the Jocks and Jills podcast. She has been a stud between the pipes for the United States for a long time, and now she's holding it down for Minnesota. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Maddie Rooney on the Jocks and Jills pod. Thanks for hopping on with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Been waiting for this one.
Yeah, I've been excited for this one because Duluth, Minnesota has a very special place in my heart. I'm from Thunder Bay originally. It's like 4 hours away. Duluth was the big city we would get to go to shop on Black Friday. So thank you.
I probably saw you there.
What's the mall called there again?
Miller Hill Mall.
Miller Hill. I can't believe I forgot that. I'm actually mad at myself. So tell us about growing up in one of America's great hockey towns and how you fell in love with the game there.
Beautiful city in the summer, by the way.
Best, like one of the best cities. Amazing food, amazing people. Like I love Duluth.
Yeah, I love hiking and I love like the Duluth community. So I always went there when I was a kid. I have a cabin actually like 30 minutes from Duluth. So very familiar with the town. And when they expressed interest in me, like I knew it was somewhere that I wanted to go. And I'm so happy that I chose to have play my college career there. And the memories that I made with my teammates and like on the weekends we'd go like hiking. Lake Superior, could do a cold plunge right in the lake. So great memories there. And yeah, super happy about Duluth.
Because Andover, right, is that your for real stomping grounds? How far is that?
That's 2 hours south in the cities. Yeah, I'm from Andover, Minnesota, northern suburb.
Cool. So then what drew you to becoming a goaltender and pursuing this illustrious career that you've had so far?
Oh my gosh. I started hockey when I was age 4. My parents kind of just threw me into it. I didn't have any siblings that played it. And I was always drawn to the goalie position. I don't know why. Just
the gear.
They looked cool. I don't even know if it was the gear, but it took forever for me to try the position. My dad, I think he knew it was an expensive position, so he kept me from it. And I finally tried it out in practice, like age 9, and never went back. But I remember a big memory for me was getting street hockey pads for Christmas when I was like age 7. And I would make my dad go shoot on me in the driveway, and he actually didn't think I was good enough. So he's like, no, you got to stick to being a skater. And I'm like, look at me now, Dad.
Yeah.
So
you need that chip on your shoulder.
Take that, Dad. Core memory unlocked. 9. I feel like, is that common in goalies to start a little later? Like, is that the age that goalies are like, I'm a goalie?
Yeah, I don't think it's abnormal. Maybe like a little bit. I think once you start getting like 12 might be a little late, but I think it kind of varies. Yeah.
Who were your favorite goalies growing up to watch?
I really looked up to Marc-Andre Fleury, which is super cool now that he plays for the Wild.
Yeah. Have you connected with him at all?
I've met him a few times, which is super cool. We practice at the same facility that they practice at, so we kind of like cross paths, and I'm just like kind of starstruck still, but it's cool. Yeah.
Minnesota's like the state of hockey for a reason, and I always find it funny. Like growing up in Canada, you played high school hockey if like you didn't play AAA. Like if you weren't trying to go somewhere with hockey. If you were a AA player, you were allowed to play high school. If you're AAA, not allowed. But in Minnesota, if you're good and you're trying to make it somewhere, you're playing high school hockey. So what is it about that makes the high school hockey such a draw and so competitive and such a big deal?
Yeah, I think it's the hype around the state tournament, honestly. Growing up as a youth hockey player, we went to the XL. I took days off of school to go watch the state hockey tournament at the X. And the community around the state of hockey. Some of my favorite memories are like the out-of-town tournaments we experienced as a youth hockey player in Minnesota. I was fortunate enough to bring Andover to the state tournament on the girls' side for the first time, and that's still one of my favorite memories of my career. I think we took consolation. And I ultimately went on to play my senior year on the boys team, which was a super cool experience.
Wild. What? Were they just like, you're better than our goalie. Can you come play for us? Is that what happened? Or were you like, hey, guys, you kind of need me?
No, I grew up playing boys youth hockey. And then I went and played 2 years of girls high school hockey. So I was very familiar with the group that was there my senior year. So it was almost like kind of going back to the normal in a sense. And I was already committed to Duluth at that time. And I kind of just wanted to give myself the ultimate challenge leading into Division I women's hockey. And yeah, cool. It was awesome.
Did the girls miss you though? Like, were the girls rattled?
Yeah, I would be pissed. Imagine pissed. Senior year, Maddie's like, good luck without me. You'd be like, no. Where are you going?
It was hard. Some of the girls were obviously some of my best friends, so it was really tough. But they were cool about it.
And were the boys cool about it?
Yeah, they were awesome. Some of them I still keep in touch with today. So.
And then Duluth. You mentioned you had already committed to Duluth. Just the way you talk about it, it kind of just feels like that was always just the school for you. Were there other schools that had a chance?
Yeah, 2 Minnesota schools is what it came down to.
Minnesota makes a little bit more sense geographically, right?
Right. Ultimately, I think it came down to I liked the staff that was there that I committed to, and the community was a big piece. And I think I had a chance to start earlier there.
Right.
Yeah.
The starting position is important. I find it crazy in Duluth. So when I went to go play there, I went to Ohio State. So go Bucks.
I just started laughing because you said starting position. I'm picturing you the other day going, "What's your favorite position?" You just translated it into this.
Sorry, that's the silliness that comes out of my mouth all the time. But I remember going to Duluth, and we would never see the outdoors when we were there in the winter because there's all these indoor tunnels. Is that the case when you're there in school? Like, do you just in the wintertime just not go outside because it's so cold?
I actually never went in the tunnels once, but like as an athlete
so
in the business school, yeah.
It's like the path in Toronto. Is it really like hard to maneuver?
No.
The
I don't
tunnels?
think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so, as
No,
far
I
as
think
I
they're
know.
As soon as
I
you
mean,
use tunnels, I'm scared immediately. As soon as that word comes out.
But they're you can see they're like you're up high in some of them, right? Like you're on the outside up top.
couldn't tell you. Never went.
Because the walk to the deck from our hotel, it's not the deck anymore, right? You guys got a new rink?
Amsoil, yeah.
Yeah. So our walk to the deck, we would like walk out of our hotel, down, and then up, and we could see the outside from where we were. So it
Okay.
wasn't like a tunnel underground.
Oh, you're talking about down by the rink. I'm talking
Yeah.
about campus. Yeah, I still haven't been in those tunnels either.
No, it's not a tunnel person.
Not a big tunnel
No.
gal.
No.
No.
Okay. Is not going in tunnels maybe a superstition for you?
No,
I'm just kidding.
But
we
I
do want to
actually-
ask about your goalie superstitions.
Yeah.
though.
Oh, great. But I actually love the cold. I would take winter over summer, so kind of crazy like that.
Great.
Yeah.
Makes you feel alive, dude. When
Yeah.
you get really, you mentioned the cold plunges in Lake Superior, best thing in the world.
Yeah.
A little bit of cold makes you feel alive. A little bit too hot makes you feel dead.
Well, we were talking earlier today about like Julia mentioned, I love a minus 30 day where it's sunny. And we were all like, yeah, for sure sunny. Minus 30 though, I don't know.
Yeah,
But in
I was a
Duluth-
little too far on that.
in Duluth, minus 30 is very,
It's nothing.
very
yeah.
common. Yeah, it's very
Get your
common.
North Face on and have a better attitude.
I don't know.
But what are your goalie quirks? Like, we've had a couple of goalies on this podcast. We were just talking to Abby Levy, who's telling us she's the chillest goalie, has no superstitions.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a lot of superstitions.
Thank God.
Nice. Hit us
Yeah.
with those. Hit us with those. We like this.
A lot of them started when I was younger in high school. I still kind of listen to the same playlist that like songs I listened to in high school.
Stop.
Are you kidding?
Which is crazy,
What's
yeah.
the deepest cut on that playlist?
There's like a lot of Drake, like old Drake.
Like headlines has got to be on there.
Can you screenshot this playlist and send it to us? Just
that might
for
sewer me.
No, it's so good. I love old playlists. Like when you find your old iPod and you're like, what in God's name was I going through? You know what I
I
mean?
was not okay.
Yeah.
So playlists. So you still listen to the
Playlists, yep.
same music.
Racquetballs, I do like a juggling hand-eye warm-up, and I have to hit the ball off the wall a certain amount of times. Otherwise, I have to start over. What else? Same coffee order. That's a common one. I have to put my left sock, left skate, left pad on first. After warm-ups, I come in and juggle a racquetball again for a certain amount of times. Like, the list is kind of crazy.
What's the coffee order?
Coffee order, really simple. A Starbucks hot coffee with almond milk.
What do you mean hot coffee? Oh, like it's not
drip
on
coffee,
ice.
yeah.
Is that weird that you have to order coffee hot nowadays? Like I feel like growing up, my parents were like, "Oh, my coffee's cold." Now people are like, "Oh, can you put ice in my coffee?" It's so weird to me. It's like I grew up in a weird time. I feel.
You're having an old man yelling at cloud moment.
I am.
Back in my day, coffee was hot.
Yeah.
I love it.
But clearly, your superstitions don't necessarily throw you off because earlier today, when I was talking to Kelly Panek, she was talking about your superstition about bouncing that racquetball and how one time she saw you have it hit your foot and it rolled away, and everyone was like, "Uh-oh!" But then you played awesome.
Yeah, I was a little distraught, but it worked out. And
The next day?
Yeah, the next game, I had to intentionally drop it.
She
Kinda
bounced it on
crazy.
purpose off her foot.
Yeah.
Did that only happen like twice in
I finished out
succession?
the season that way. But yesterday in the scrimmage, I didn't drop it, and it was fine. So I think I'm
Okay.
back to base.
So this was last season. This happened.
Yeah. Mhm.
What we got to go back to last season because I don't know if you've heard this or if you've been told it enough, but like, I felt like you single-handedly saved I don't want to say you're responsible for the Walter Cup victory. However, you saved the playoffs for your team. But there was a moment where, just listening to you talk about rituals and stuff like that, game 3. So you guys were down 2-0 in the series, right? Goes back to Minnesota. Game 3. What happened that day where a goalie with superstitions and stuff should have been thrown off, but clearly it wasn't the case for you because you shut them out?
Yeah, so I live in the boonies in Minnesota, which is Hugo, Minnesota. It's not that far out, but like 35-ish minutes from the rink. So I'm used to kind of getting to the rink early, just out of habit because of traffic and whatnot. But so I like my superstitions, leave at a certain time, whatever. Got the playlist going. I'm in the neighborhood. A car breaks down, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is the end. Like, what do I do?
Are you driving? You're driving.
Yes,
You're
I'm
not a
driving.
passenger,
I have to
okay.
drive to games by myself. And
Got it.
immediately call my dad because car trouble is why wouldn't you call dad? And he's like, I'm in my dress clothes, have heeled boots on. He's like, okay, you got to push the car back to your driveway. I'm like, I'm not pushing the SUV in my heeled boots back to the driveway. So
To kick them off and do it barefoot?
no, I left it there and I'm like, please, dad, come help. So he came, figured it out. I called Nicole because she actually lives the closest to me, which is still 25 minutes away. She was gratefully came and picked me up. I'm literally on the side, like hitchhiking, and she picked me up in the neighborhood. We still got there in time because I leave so early. We still had time. I was still early. But we were in the car, and she's like, do you need to put on your music? Like, I know you listen to the same playlist. I'm like, no, it's too far gone. Like this, it is what it is.
It's the end.
It is what it is at this point. And ended up winning the game. I got to shut out that game. So I'm like, oh no, is this going to have to be the new superstition?
I'm gonna have to destroy my car.
Yeah. No, but I didn't go that route that far.
So you didn't hitchhike to any more games after that?
No.
Yeah, I actually remember.
All is well.
I remember Ken Clay talking about how impressed he was with how like measured you were after that happened because of how based in routine you are.
Yeah, on the inside I was screaming, but
So how'd you pull it together?
I don't know. Hope and prayers.
Didn't have a say. She just had to get out there and do it.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
had to do it.
I'm
Kinda
surprised
blocked it
that
out.
you haven't kept the superstitions going though. If those were the
I know.
superstitions that won the chip.
That seemed a little drastic.
Does it make you nervous to let them go, like the ball drop thing, where you like, I should do it, and then you're like, you know what? Let's just see what happens.
Well, it's also like I'm intentionally throwing it off my foot and everyone in front of everyone, and they're probably like, "What is she doing?" Like, so it's also that, but I just have to own it. I'm like, I don't care.
That's the best. Your first Women's Worlds gold medal for USA in 2017. You're the backup goalie. You seem pretty even keeled. That was in Plymouth. That was a very big year for the ladies to win. What did you what lessons did you learn at that Worlds to prepare you then for, I guess, getting ready for the 2018 Olympics?
Yeah, I was the third string at the World Championships.
Oh, was it third? I thought you were backup.
No, I was behind Nicole and Riggs.
Oh,
Alex
Rigsby was still
Cavallini
there.
now.
My bad.
Yeah, and ultimately, like going into that environment with those two, like they're such great leaders and good friends, and they just guided me. And I was like, just trying to be a sponge to everything. I was new to the team, and they were just great supporters to me. And I ultimately had my debut against Russia and did well. And it was just so cool to experience, and especially like the boycott leading up to that. Like it was all just like, whoa, like, this is crazy, but so special to be a part of. Yeah.
I always find the goaltending relationship such an interesting one. Like, what's it like being in a throuple?
In a throuple.
A throuple where you're like competing but also supporting one another. It's
There's so
a
much
really
love.
interesting dynamic.
Yeah, it's strange.
Yeah, no, it's really important to have that support and kind of just, own your role. Like if it's not your night in the net, just be the best teammate you can on the bench. And Nicole and I being goalie partners now for the past 7 years, whether it's on the national team or PWHL, like I think we just know how to support each other in the best way, and we're just great friends off the ice and away from the rink too, and I think that helps, and it's just really a fun dynamic.
It's kind of like couples board game night every day when you're in a goalie throuple. That's what it kind of feels like,
That's
though.
true. Yeah. Something to that effect. Okay. So you go from 2017, that crazy experience coming off the whole thing with USA Hockey. You guys win there. And then 2018 Olympics come around. I don't really want to narrate that story for you. Just tell us about the experience in 2018 from your perspective?
Yeah. Again, it was kind of a quick rise to the Olympic team. I had made that Worlds, and that was kind of like my first tournament, and then made the Olympic team the next month in May at tryouts, and then was centralized in Florida with the team. And it was all just really cool. I like my mindset, I was just going to compete, work hard, and no expectations kind of thing. Like I knew my role and took advantage of the opportunity when they came, and ultimately won that starting job. And
did you have like any inclination that you were going to go there and start?
No, not at all. I mean, I was 19 when I made the team, so
it's insane. Did you see the way she carried herself? That was. Keep going. Tell your story.
Honestly, it was kind of a blur. I remember like in the gold medal game, like if I were to picture the gold medal game, I would have never thought it came down to a shootout, which was super cool as a goalie. Like I love shootouts, so really cool in that aspect. Yeah. Yeah. And kind of blacked out in the shootout moment. Just remember looking over at the bench and seeing the teammates running at me, and then the dog pile. So,
buddy, that was, so I was covering that game with NBC, and Erica Lawler was my analyst. And I love Shannon Zabados. So obviously, I'm Canadian. I played on the Canadian team. I cheer for those ladies all the time. But after the way 2014 went down, I was like, you know what? It wouldn't be a bad thing for women's hockey to see a little change up here. You were so likable as a person and as a goalie that it was like hard for me not to cheer for you. And it's really hard for me to admit this. But it was like a moment where I was like, is this kid for real? Like, are you real? How is this happening? You seemed so unfazed. You said you blacked out a little bit, which I don't know, it just felt like when I watched that game from start to finish, it was like she was so meant to be there. Like that was so your moment. Did it feel that way?
No, I mean, I think I was just kind of taking things day by day, moment by moment, save by save, and just, yeah.
Like big names, Marie-Philippe Poulin, you're facing her in the shootout.
Do you think about who's coming down on you in a shootout?
No, I try to not, because, I mean, they could pull any move at any given time. So I try to just kind of be in the moment.
Augusta twice. Like, she scored one, but whatever. You stopped the one that mattered. Yeah. Like, I've even felt like you said, I remember looking over at the bench after Lamoureux scores that unbelievable goal, just completely undresses Zabados at the other end. Regardless, you win. And I remember thinking, and I said to Lawler, I'm like, I don't think she celebrated hard enough. Like, just for who you were, it just felt like you were so dialed and in tune to what was happening that, like, you were still there in that celebration moment. Did it feel that way, or are you just not, like, a big celebrate-y person?
I wouldn't say I'm a big celebrate-y person.
Right.
Pretty chill. But, yeah. I think I watched the videos, and it looks like I'm kind of running on ice a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the perspective I really want from this game, what are your, and you talked about your dad, how he was kind of who shot pucks on you when you were a kid. What was their perspective during the game? Like, how stressed must they have been?
Yeah, my gosh, the life of a goalie parent?
Can't imagine. The life of a goalie parent has taken probably 10 years off their life, knock on wood. But they were there in South Korea, which was super cool, and hearing the stories that they had in the stands of, like, running around, falling over seats, like that kind of thing is just hilarious. And like even family back home, like stories of my aunt like pounding on the walls in the game. Like I wish I had a camera to be a fly on the wall in all the situations.
That's the best. Then it's crazy to think that like you could come into the PWHL, you enter the draft, and you went undrafted.
Mm-hmm.
And you were invited to Minnesota's camp for obvious reasons. Did you kind of use that as a chip on your shoulder, or are you just kind of like, no, I know I'm good enough and I belong here and that's it?
No, I'd be lying if I didn't say that was the hardest point in my career. Just the events leading up to that, with the national team not making worlds, being released, then not being drafted. I was like, is this it kind of thing? Like, I didn't know if I was going to try to go for a training camp, but that thought lasted, it was short-lived, and I ultimately decided I don't want my story to end there, and I want to keep going. So fortunate that Minnesota gave me that training camp invite, and I knew I was just going to work hard, compete, and see what happens. And fortunate enough to get a contract, and same thing, was just going to try to take advantage of the opportunities if they came, and luckily they just kept coming, and fortunate what I had.
I think I can speak for all of Minnesota when they say thank you for not letting your story end there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. You're Walter Cup champ. I mean, that must have been so cool. First inaugural season. You guys are the champs. It kind of felt fitting with Kendall Coyne-Schofield hoisting the first ever cup. What's it like having her in your locker room as a teammate, being a small individual, yet such a very big presence?
Yeah, her presence, I mean, just radiates throughout the locker room. She's such a great leader, and I've been fortunate enough to have her as a leader for many years now. And what she's done for this league is just truly incredible, and what she'll continue to do. And she's just such a great force to have in our locker room.
She's a magician.
Yeah. Just thinking about that Walter Cup win, was it more emotional when you reflected about the fact that, man, I almost didn't play this year? Like, I almost wasn't here?
Yeah. I think looking back now, everything that has happened has made me into the goalie I am today. And what I went through to get to last year, and even just getting those starts that I did, it's allowed me to gain that confidence knowing that I overcame those hardships, and I've learned tools and resources to get out of those like self-doubt moments. So, and to come out of it with a Walter Cup is pretty cool.
Can you share any secrets? You got any self-doubt tips for us here on the show?
Self-doubt
For the days we don't feel great.
I feel like there's lots of young hockey players that listen to this too. And I think that mental performance is a big part of the game.
Huge.
Yeah, it's huge. I think everyone is, it's all individualized. Like, people are going to figure out what works best for them. For me, it's really having a balance. Hockey, like, we're all hockey players, and as much as we don't want to say it's our life, our daily life kind of revolves around it. So it's a big part of us. And for me, balance is big, whether that's just getting outside, going for a walk, playing with my dog, spending time with fiance, whatever it is, just doing things to take my mind off the sport and knowing like my life's not just hockey in the end.
That's cool. I dig that.
Yeah.
So what'd you do? Can you tell us some of the fun party stories you had with your day with the cup?
It's actually kind of boring.
What'd you eat out of it? What'd you put in there?
Nothing.
No.
My dog drank water out of it.
Well, that's
So,
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm staying hydrated.
Yeah, I brought it back to Andover and went to a local restaurant and had family and friends come join me, which was
That's
super cool to celebrate with them. Yeah.
I dig. It was a good summer for you too, apparently.
Yeah,
You
got
mentioned
engaged.
your fiance, yeah.
Nice silicone ring here
Hey-o.
today. Yeah.
Nice. How'd that happen? What was
We were in Duluth.
No way.
Yeah. So just was a family trip back in Duluth and popped the question in the Rose Garden. So
The Rose Garden.
That's awesome.
Is he a romantic?
depends on the day. Yeah.
Right.
Are you more the romantic or him?
Depends on the day.
Okay, I like that. You need that balance.
Speaking of him, pretty cool. The royalty brand, I just want to touch on it lately because I know you don't like attention and stuff, but royalty brand that he's partnered with the PWHL, I feel like doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
Nothing but props for that.
He started Royalty back in 2016 for the apparel, maybe 2017, and it's come such a long way. Like, he also owns a performance gym, Royalty Sports Performance. So it started just like doing gym apparel, and things started flying off the shelves. So he's like, okay, maybe there's something here. So he started making more like casual lifestyle apparel, athletic wear, and started getting sponsorships for high schools, colleges, and now to see that he's in the PWHL sponsorship, like, is so cool. And he has 2 store locations, one at Mall of America, to say that is crazy, and just so proud of him. He's the hardest working person I know, so really proud of him.
You guys seem like a good fit. Hard-working people that, earn the good things that come their way.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations on last season. Congratulations on your entire career, and good luck this upcoming season. We
Thank
can't see
you.
what you got.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Maddie, thank you so much for that. I referenced that little pickup that her teammate did for her when her car broke down
Hilarious.
before the PWHL playoffs. Goalie buddies. Hensley, that's such a nice move on her part. Dude, I would have been freaking out, but good thing she goes to the rink so early.
Yeah, that too. And then she just gave up on the old playlist, like, no, everything's going. So no, we're not doing it. I don't want the playlist. I want nothing. But nice that goalie Hensley recognized that she had her goalie things, and she was like, you can put your playlist on.
Yeah.
Know what I
That's so
mean?
cute.
She didn't have to do that, but she did.
Yeah, that is sweet. So this is it. The next time we talk to you guys, the puck will have dropped in the PWHL. We'll have a couple games under our belt, and Tessa and I'll have traveled from Colorado to Toronto to Minnesota and back the next time we talk to you guys.
I gotta ask, what are you most excited about this season?
We said it already this podcast, but it is the hockey. I'm really excited to just get into the swing of things and hit the ground running, you and I, with the podcast and get into the mix with games happening and just be able to focus on like hockey on a day-to-day basis. So much of last year, Blair Turnbull's quote that she said to us last year was so much about the hype and we're here and we're excited, but this year is going to be about the hockey. And I'm really, really excited to watch some hockey this weekend.
Heck yeah. I'm pumped for the banner raising. That's what I'm most excited for. I'm being serious.
Yeah,
it's the first banner to go up. Like, what an experience. We're going to get to be there to watch it in the state of hockey. Like, it's kind of, perfect. Kendall Coyne-Schofield, everything she's done for these players in this league. It's just, I'm excited to watch that happen. And then obviously have the puck drop shortly after.
Yeah. And pumped also to be on the road and like meet more PWHL fans this year and really get to be involved in this full time. We're going to be, like I said earlier, Toronto. We're going to be at the Coca-Cola Coliseum on Sunday. You'll see us on the video board. I think you'll see us on the broadcast at some point too. Same thing with Minnesota on Sunday. We're going to be there doing our live podcast. See you before puck drop. I hope we can meet as many of you as possible and see as many as you as we can. We might be on the Fan Boney too. I think we'll be on the broadcast. So there's lots of fun stuff coming this weekend. Like, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see you guys out. So we will talk to you on Tuesday, and we hope you enjoy opening weekend of the Professional Women's Hockey League Season 2.
Woo!